Quality time, quality time. Oh, you all mine.
You think so? Why do you think people divorce so much? That's my personal opinion on why I think people divorce so much.
There's so many questions. A lot of people didn't, like you said, they didn't figure out what they want to start with, and also growing in a different direction, and also boredom as well. Because well, one of the questions we kind of briefly touched on earlier is you asked me once, right? How like was there ever a guy who I found enthralling, right? And I said there are many guys who are enthralling and fascinating if you think about their personal appearance and what they look like from the outside, right? However, when it comes to a relationship, in Chinese we have the saying called, translated directly, it's called, your wedding dish is not going to be your everyday dish. You know what I mean? Because a lot of time, yes. So people who fascinate you can be a good date. Okay, considering these 2 hours you spend together, but I honestly do not believe that a guy can be fascinating 100% of his time. Then, right? Because he must have this downtime. So if you don't know what exactly is his downtime like, when you go into his fascination mode, let's say getting married too soon and without understanding that person thoroughly, that's definitely one of the biggest reasons later when you want to get out of that marriage. Now, people as well, yes, there's another thing, people growing in different directions. And sometimes it happens that before you get married, there were probably some qualities in the other person you didn't see. Or maybe it's not even a quality there yet, but later on, the environment changes, situation changes when he spends 9 hours at his workplace, or I don't know, 4 days out of 5 days flying, 4 days out of 7 days flying here and there. You really do not have any control over what his like social circle is like, right? And what kind of impact he is receiving. So I would say there is really no guarantee there. But I think it's best to have a clear understanding about what he is like to start with, so that you would not go into a marriage or commit to a long-term relationship without knowing a clue about what's happening next. For example, my husband, I know that he is this type of person, what he prefers, what he doesn't prefer, and I have some limited understanding. Limited, but I think sufficient understanding about his work environment and also his social circle. That's where you can have this trust. You know that he under that situation is not going to do that stupid thing. So that's how you kind of have that trust with each other, which comes from way before.
I agree. The best theory I ever heard on this was you don't know someone until you know them. And so I summed this up with like a really good Johnny Cash song. I can't remember the name of the song. But the song is about how he's a police officer and his brother is always getting in trouble. He's always getting his brother out of trouble. So then, in the very final verse of the song, his brother gets in trouble again, and they call him down, and he goes down there, and his brother gets in a car and starts driving away. So he starts following his brother, expecting his brother to pull over so you can kind of like get him out of trouble again. But his brother doesn't stop. His brother drives all the way to Canada. And the whole part of the song, he says, you don't give up on your family, you're always there for your family. And then the final line of the song is, you don't give up on your family, you're always there for your family. Just saying like his brother was giving up on his family and leaving. And I think the whole point is that like you don't really know what someone is like, your family, your lover, your best friend or something, until you really know, like until they do something, until it's put to the test, you don't really know. So, I mean, your best friend might try to steal your husband or take your money or I don't steal your jewelry or something, right? Like you just never know. You don't know. Things will do things to these people. So I think it's really important to keep this in mind. It's like a lot of men, when they meet attractive women, they go, oh God, she's so amazing. Oh, how can I get her? How can I date her? Oh, and they get all in their head and really weird and gimpy about it. And it's like, dude, you don't know her. You don't know her till you know her. She might suck. She might seem awesome now. She might have a crappy personality, no sense of humor. She might have the stinkiest farts ever. Like, you might hate her friends. Her family might be terrible. She might present really well, but behind closed doors, she's just like a terrible person to be around. You just don't know. So the whole point is to go over and make good relationships and have a good time for both of you, so you can both get to know each other, and you can base your opinion of her on her personality, so that when you get to know her and find out if she's awesome, then you can really like her and not have this fake sort of projected like that makes you act like some weirdo, that she's like, why does this guy like me? He doesn't even know me. Why is he sending me Chanel bags? He doesn't even know me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm never interested in luxury brands, to be honest.
No, I'll take
Um,
it.
so that's definitely a miss when somebody trying to pursue me by sending me a Chanel. Like, I just really don't care.
Hmm. Yeah, it's never the way to go. I don't believe in trying to buy women, partially because that's insatiable. Like, even you find women who are okay being bought, the price just keeps going up, right? Because the trade, the high she gets from those things goes down. It's like a drug, so you got to give more, right? It almost never ends. It's a very unhealthy relationship. I'm
Did you
sorry.
ever get that situation?
When I was younger, when I was in like high school or something, I think so. I took a girl out to a carnival, and it cost like $100 or something to me at the time. That was like a lot of money. And I was kind of disappointed that like she didn't do anything with me, and I just realized like that's just like not gonna work. Like, even if I had more money to throw at her, it still wouldn't. Well, I mean, I did, but like, even if I was willing to throw more money at her, like, it probably still wouldn't turn out how I wanted. So I was just like, no, I'm just not gonna do that again. Which isn't to say that, like, if you invite a woman out for drinks, a first date or something, I'm not gonna pay for the drinks. I'm gonna make her pay half because I'm not gonna show her. I'll give her money or something. That's not the point. Because the point is, like, there's a women's dating coach named Matthew Hussey who put this the best way, and he said, like, you should really treat your partner or the girl you're dating kind of like your best friend. So if you went out for drinks with your best friend, would you be like, yo, I got this round? You'd be like, yeah, I get that round. And would you be like, okay, well, we'll split half sometimes? Like, yeah, I'll split half sometimes. Would you expect your best friend to sometimes be like, yo, I'll get this one? Or like, you grab dinner, I'll grab drinks, something like that. You know what I mean? So that's a really good mindset to take, and be like, well, if she was my best friend, I'd just take her out and get a drink. Like, wouldn't be a big thing. You might expect your best friend to pay for the drinks, to split them, because I mean, I don't always buy my friends drinks, but I think it's a nice gesture to say, hey, I'm interested enough to get to know you that I'll pay for these drinks to have this time to converse with you, to see if we can have a good time, because it's a nice gesture that I would like to get to know you. Um, and that's really what it's about. It's not about buying her favor. It's about the gesture that you care enough, you're interested enough to make getting to know her more important than spending a few dollars.
I agree. And another thing is that during the conversation, what are you going to talk about? Right? A lot of times people bring into situation when some guy trying to make a complaint to impress a woman. Honestly, it's so easy when you're not being you. This is a different topic.
I really didn't catch you. I'm sorry. Could you speak a little bit louder?
We were talking about this conversation. You mentioned that a guy should show the girl that at least he cares about to converse with that girl. So that kind of sidetracked me into thinking another situation. When it comes to when there comes to conversation, guys try to be too showy during the conversation.
Oh, please tell.
What?
Please tell the situation.
Yeah, the guy tried to show that he's very smart and he's the best, I don't know, like the most promising and promising young man in the world, and trying to show that woman that it will be a loss of yours if you do not agree to date me, you know. So this conversation, this type of situation, I would say that woman can tell who you really are. Like you don't have to show yourself. Like I can tell who you are when you're having a 20-minute conversation and see how you present yourself. It's not just about the topic we touched on, but also how you kind of approach that topic and how you introduce yourself. Everything is shown on a surface level. So when
I
somebody is
agree.
trying to
Leslie, I think you have your hand on the microphone. Could you please take your hand off the microphone?
oh, am I
That's clear. Thank you.
okay? So yeah, so it's all about when you go into conversation, you have to really be yourself, right? If you're too timid, that's fine to have a drink and start talking. I do that too. When I had job interviews, I used to make sure that I have a glass of wine before, so that I open up. And sometimes but that's fine. I actually think it's cute if someone does that. But if you're trying to be not who you are, right, and trying to pretend that you're brag a little and pretend that you're really capable, confident, whatever, I mean, that sense of insecurity is losing out without you noticing.
Absolutely. So one thing I heard before was that when you're monetarily cheap, it makes women think that you'll also be emotionally cheap. So the idea is like if you'll take her on a first date, I'm not saying go buy steak dinners and stuff. I'm not saying that, okay? If you say, let's go out for a drink or two, and it's your first date, like let's split this drink or two. What you're saying is like, cool, thanks, but I wasn't interested enough in your company to just make a nice gesture that I'm glad to treat you to have you here with me, which is a nice gesture. And so if he is too cheap to be like, I'm willing to pay for you to have a drink because I enjoy your company.
Yeah.
Then it also says to her that like he's going to be too cheap to show me he cares in like any real other way either. Because
when you are pursuing,
I can understand that.
Feel a little special, right? So I think a wine treat or a mosquito treat would not be too much. The other thing is that when you're trying to treat somebody, like sending her a gift or something, it needs to be. I think this is also basic human relationship rule, though. You do not do this in a way that the other person doesn't feel comfortable. Like I think a wine treat is good enough. A dinner treat, if it is not too extravagant, if it is not too luxurious, too expensive, it's good enough. It's good enough as well. But you do not try to show generosity by treating her a $300 like dinner. That's just way too uncomfortable and it's not so respectful either. How do you know that she wants to be treated like that?
Yeah, exactly. It's not about the money, it's about the gesture. Saying like for example, if you met a celebrity or like a business guru or something, you met Richard Branson or Elon Musk or Tony Robbins, you're like, Tony, can I take you for a drink? Tony, you come have a drink with me? And Bill comes, you're like, yo, Tony, I got this one. I took Tony Robbins for a drink. Despite the fact Tony Robbins makes millions of dollars, and you kind of hope you get the drinks anyways, right? But the point is, you'd be like, yo, I took Tony Robbins for a drink because I got to sit down and enjoy with Tony Robbins, and I wanted to do that. And so it's that kind of excitement that you're showing. Like, I'm glad to be with her. And so this doesn't mean anything in comparison to the opportunity that I have to maybe create a great relationship with her. So fucking it's just a good idea. It's just, I don't want to say it's the right thing to do, but it's a great idea and a nice gesture to the woman that I recommend men do. And if they're not, they're probably, to be fair, like one time the woman I lost, I tried to get home. I made her pay half the bill. I made her pay. She offered. I didn't make her. She offered, and I let her. But that second time we went out, I paid for drinks.
Back to the original point you made about emotion.
You just said. So it makes her feel good, right?
Makes her feel good, yeah.
Exactly, and that's the thing. If she feels good when she's around you, then she's gonna want to be around you more. Even if you buy her nice things and take her for nice dinners, but she feels uncomfortable with it, she's not going to want to be around you.
That's true.
So yeah, like I had a friend who worked at like a nightclub, and so he didn't make a lot of money, and he slept on his friend's sofa. And you know, he had some success on this sofa, Partly because he worked at the nightclub, and partly just because he didn't give a shit about it, and partly because the women just had a great time when they were with him. They're just like, well, fuck it, whatever. They see the elephant, like, oh, whatever, I'm here, I've come this far, I've enjoyed it so much so far, I'll just go with it. Now, I'm not saying that's a great idea, but I'm saying even if your circumstances don't dictate you to show her a great time in some ways, there are other ways you can show her a great time where it makes those things not as important.
Yep, that's very true.
Cool. Yeah, I hate when dudes are like, I won't pay for a woman. It's like, dude, get the fucking drink. Come on, be a man. Get the fucking drink and have a good time. All right, be a gentleman. Damn, what happened to being a gentleman? Cool. Yeah, so you're talking about good emotions. What are some other ways men can give you great emotions when you meet with them?
It's really not a one size fits all thing. Like depending on, again, that depends on the guy's understanding about what role he has to play in the relationship and who that woman he wants to is. Right? For me, I like intellectual stimulation. I like to talk to my husband about things like history, about what if that history event did not happen, what would have happened, right? Or what if, like, a lot of possibilities, because they give you a lot of plenty of room for exploration and imagination. But that's just me. Well, there are times when, different things, right? So when I'll give you a small example. When crossing the street, what gives me a really good feeling, even though it's very subtle, is that when a guy kind of it's a busy traffic, so the guy when you cross the street together, he kind of holds you on the back. You know, it doesn't have to do it with very strong force, but he kind of holds you on the back and kind of showing that you're being protected. That is something that I really appreciate. I probably wouldn't tell, but this is one tiny gesture that shows you how much care he wants to give you, right? And it's not a big deal, but it really helps you get that emotion, like the poor girl. It really helps you get that emotion you want. So that is another example. More thing like when you're sitting in the restaurant ordering food, right? He lets you go first in terms of knowing, telling him what you want to order and ask you whether you want to share this and share that. All these tiny little things shows this gesture that you care. And also when you are dealing with your friends, when you're hanging out with friends, right? If you there are times when you create a little distance between you and the other person, not because that you want to test them, it's just that you have your own life, right? So he can handle that little distance well. It's okay that he sends you a text message asking you, hey, how's everything going in 13 days, right? But do not make it feel like this is kind of a checking point. Just respect that little distance. So there are many, many things in daily life which you can do to make that woman feel good and cared for, and also have a sense of security when being with you, right? And that goes to the other point that we were just talking about earlier, is that in order to be in this quality relationship, you need to kind of develop your own skill, right, to create these moments and these emotions. It's a skill. Like no man comes to this world being adept at all this, right? It all goes back to how many days that he has had, how many books that he has read, what is the level of social experience he has had before. Everything coming together shapes how he deals with everyone, not just with a particular woman, right? But that thing, the whole package and the feeling that you're sending out with your normal gestures, even though these tiny things can be felt strongly by the other person. Like the example that I just made, when you crossing the street, it feels good when a man has his hand right on your back. That's a small gesture sending you that I'm protecting, which is really, really good.
That's good. I agree. Of course, women love to be made to feel safe by men they're around. Of course, is a very attractive thing. Men are bigger, stronger. That's a good masculine role. And you were talking, sorry?
Even for this woman who seems to be ambitious and strong, I think deep in mind they still need that.
I think they like it even more because they receive it even less.
Exactly.
Women in positions of power and authority, I think, often want to relinquish their power and authority. And they kind of test to see if you will, I don't want to say force them to step down, but kind of get them to back down a bit so they finally can relax a little bit and enjoy not having to be in control. And when they don't have to be, they really enjoy it because that pressure is off them.
Yep.
And I really like that. Sorry, go ahead.
You were saying something and I cut you off.
Oh, sorry. You were saying something. I cut you off. I really liked that you talked about it's important how guys communicate these things, because that's entirely true. Like, for example, say a man sees you in a cafe and he comes up to you and he goes, "I really think you're attractive. I would like to engage in intercourse with you." It would be fucking weird, right? You'd be like, forget this.
Oh, why not 911?
Exactly right. Exactly right. But what he's saying is, I'm sexually interested in you. Okay. That's one way of communicating that, which needs to be communicated from a man to a woman at some point in order for them to have some kind of sexual relationship. A different way of communicating it, alternatively, could be like, "Oh, hey, that's a really cool hairstyle. I think I saw someone like that on like a magazine the other day. I think it was you. You were the girl on Cosmo, weren't you? You're the Cosmo girl. I met a famous girl today. I'm really excited. High five."
That's more interesting.
That's more interesting. And what you're saying is, I noticed you sexually, but I'm gonna communicate it in a playful, fun, flattering, like good emotion kind of way. And I mean, after that, you don't want to just go one direction. It's like, "Oh, you're the Cosmo girl." It's like, I hope you're not really stuck up or something. You're right.
I love reading a book in Starbucks. There's a reason for that because, well, actually, I like talking to people. If I spend 2 hours in Starbucks, I like to make a conversation with somebody. For a period of time in my life, in my mid-20s, spending 2 hours in Starbucks on a weekly basis was my routine for meeting. That was the main goal. But why reading a book is because, well, two reasons. First, if that conversation isn't fun, right, I can excuse myself gracefully by saying, "I'm just going to go back and finish this book," right? And that's not going to offend anybody. The other thing is that I think this is a very good conversation starter. Whether this is a new friend you're meeting or a new guy friend you're meeting with, it's probably not for dating though. But if there's somebody who happens to be of an opposite sex, right, and of opposite gender, and who seems to be attractive, right, a book can be an opener of a conversation, and he might come ask you what you're reading, and you tell him a little bit about the book and the takeaways to see if there's anything similar that he has read. If he is totally engaged in a conversation, like there's something that you guys can talk about or share as a common language. But let's say if his eyes glaze off and he doesn't really feel interested in conversation, it might just mean that he's not going to be a good match, whether being a friend or being a date. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the book that I don't read deep, sophisticated book like philosophy in the Starbucks. I might read it in my little reading room because I have to.
Sit around with your 50 Shades of Grey. Sit around 50 Shades of Grey in Starbucks. Wait for a guy to start a convo.
That's another thing. The book that you read also kind of sends a signal. I mean, it doesn't necessarily, but sometimes people see you by seeing what book you read. And if you're reading something like 50 Shades of Grey, you probably attract people coming to you asking for or something even more extreme than that, right? So I usually get a little
like to engage in the intercourse with you. Sorry.
Wow. So usually I would read something that is very interesting, fun, and kind of like stimulating. intellectually, and so that I can make it a good conversation starter with the person. So if it doesn't follow, that just means that, okay, this, first of all, this is not a good experience, because it looks like I'm being overly excited about something that the other person doesn't even care so much. And the other thing is that probably on something that I value, that person isn't very interested in it, right? So that's how I kind of, when I was in the mid-20s, that's how I filter out people who are not good candidates to make sure that I'm in a good, social circle, hanging out with people who I can really at least talk to, right? So that was things that I did before, but nowadays I don't do it anymore, just because even thinking back about that, that was a little shallow, because sometimes people might not be good at what you're good at, but you're kind of discrediting them as friends, potential friends, by using that single criteria. But still, I think the main point what that I'm trying to make here is these little things, are little conversations and little interest that you show, is they do have the determining power, in terms of deciding where you're going to be in terms of this relationship with this other person. Is the next step.
I agree. So there's a few really good things you touched on there. One, quality women will just go hang out at a cafe with a book waiting for guys to talk to them.
Sometimes I make the conversation. Sometimes I start the conversation.
You see? So how would you start the conversation?
Depending on it depends on the moment, I would say. If somebody is sitting there next to me, doesn't seem to be very busy occupied with a phone call or something, I would just ask them, how's your day? Right? What makes you here today? And very random conversation, a very natural way. And I also care about, like, when I'm approaching the other person, I don't give them a pitch that I'm interested in something that's weird. Right? So just a random conversation and see how he responds to it. And a lot of times people get excited because they didn't expect that they could have a small talk with a total stranger. But most of the time, people get, say, sometimes guys became a little unnatural, uncomfortable about it because they're being approached by a girl without preparing for it. I would say that's probably 70% of the case.
That's funny. So even when you go out of your way to start the conversation, a lot of guys were still uncomfortable.
They were a little reserved, I would say, and they just don't show up as the same excited as you are when having a conversation. Just because of little shyness there, I don't know, or maybe just they're not prepared. But there are 30% of the time about, well, some people are really, really good at making small talks and making the moments really good for both of us. And usually what happens next is that, okay, we kind of exchange.
I think your hand is on your microphone again. Is your microphone on the side of your computer?
Yes, I have yes, I probably did that accidentally again. Can you hear me well now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So women hang out in Starbucks. Another thing that I kind of believe in, not sure if it's accurate though, but I kind of believe in where you have started a relationship with somebody is also important for how far this relationship can go.
Interesting, because I actually I made a video, my last video I made was called The Top 7 Places to Meet Quality Women. And one of them was cafes. And one of the reasons for places like cafes, including other public places like subway, transit, street, etc., was because women have this idea that in their fantasy, when they meet their dream man, it will happen in some sort of normal place, like a cafe, like on the subway, like when they're crossing the street, as opposed to somewhere like a nightclub or something like that. So before you say, I just want to say I have the theory. Now please continue.
I would say that that's probably true. And the reason is because, for me, if I met you in a club, right? Even if we exchange contact information and we kind of kept in touch with each other, until I get to know you really well, I associate you with the image of a club guy.
Mm.
And the club is usually, think about, right, it's usually for fun, entertainment, and not so serious relationships. Not saying I like this 100%, but that's how I associate a guy who I met in the club to something that is not so desirable when it comes to having a quality relationship. Cafe is a good place because people have good, genuine conversations with each other. But I meet my friends in cafe, and I think what's underlying that is that before I have a date, I like to start out from a place of friends. So that's also very interesting because you earlier mentioned that guys got freaked out when they try to walk out of the frame. Whereas I actually think being a friend is the first step before having a date.
You think being friends is better before having a date?
There needs to be this for somebody to become complete to become good friends or date from the place of being complete strangers. There needs to be these steps that you have to go through in order to hold the relationship closer, to gain trust, right? I wouldn't trust you if you're just a random guy, even regardless how attractive you are. Right. I have to feel like I have to be treated as a friend and treat you as a friend first to know more about you, so that I can start thinking about whether there is a possibility potential for future relationship. So that I think it's a very important step.
Okay, so you need to have some trust. So say we met in a cafe. I'm like, oh, cool book. That looks so interesting. What's it about? You're like, yeah, it's about this. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. I'm reading a book like it. We chat for a half hour, whatever. I'm like, I got to go, but you seem really fun. How about we exchange contacts and get together for another coffee, another book chat?
Yeah.
So say we do it. We were texting, and I said, okay, let's go for coffee again. Now, do you view me as a friend or do you view me as a potential date?
I don't know whether you will be a potential date, but if I say yes, that probably means that you're interested in something.
That means I'm a potential date if you say yes?
No. I mean, if I say yes, that means that you're interested in something, right? And it could be a potential date. I mean, my friends can be potential dates too, but that doesn't really define you as the date, because it's just a chance for me to get to know more about you, right?
So what if and I said, let's go for a drink tonight. My favorite cocktail bar. They have custom cocktails you can't get anywhere else. I guarantee you're gonna love it. Is it a date?
Depends on the situation. I would say if your work relationship, I know at the workplace.
No. I'm talking like we met in the cafe as I described.
No, I probably would say let's meet in Starbucks.
You'd say let's meet at Starbucks.
Here's the thing, though. This is a little thing that I learned. Right? The way that a guy will approach you depends on your gesture. Because we were talking about gesture, but in the context of the guy. Right now, if we reverse that, we're talking about a gesture of the woman. The guy's gesture is kind of determined by the woman's gesture as well. If you and I meet for the first time, let's say that doesn't have to be in a bar, but we were meeting at dinner, right? And I order a mojito, which is a very strong drink. What am I inviting?
Well, okay.
Right, open for exploration or something wild.
Well, maybe, or you're enjoying a mojito. Depends how easily you get drunk. But I do agree. If you're ordering, somewhat strong cocktails, and you don't have to be, or even like say we're at lunch and you're ordering cocktails, it definitely sends a little bit different message. You're saying I'm a little bit more open to getting loose and having fun. It doesn't mean you're open sexually, but I mean, more drinks usually lead to more sexual acts, not less. So
if I'm again in Shanghai and we go out to drink, first of all, since I've known you quite well, right, I would say yes, just a friend thing that we go for drinking.
But I mean hypothetically, like say we didn't know each other and we met in the cafe as I described. You had your book, we had the chat, I left, we started texting, I said let's go for a drink, and you say no, let's meet at Starbucks. And I say okay, let's meet at Starbucks, we'll have a chat, and if we're having a good time, why don't we grab a cocktail at my favorite cocktail bar nearby?
If I'm comfortable with the conversation with what happened in Starbucks, I may say yes.
Okay, so that's a good in. We go from I just met you, we'll go for a coffee. If we're having a good time with the coffee, we can go have a drink. If we have a good time with the drink, you know, I'm a gentleman, so I'm gonna send you home on your way and text you another day, be like, oh, you know, maybe let's meet for another drink, maybe let's go for dinner. Maybe let's go do some activity. Let's go play archery. Let's go bowling. I don't know what the hell have I done recently.
If I choose to, if I say yes 3 times in a row for a one-on-one activity with you, that probably means that I'm already viewing you as a potential date.
Oh, for sure. Because by the 3rd time, I'm going to invite you to come to my place so I can cook you dinner. and if you accept that by the 3rd time, I think we're both on the same page. I'm going to guess we're pretty close.
Right. So the point is, when you and a lady first met in Starbucks, right? Even though you're very attractive, you might be very
Well,
good
thank you.
at conversationalist, you're probably not a date yet. There needs to be this process you have to go through, the steps that you have to go through in order to build trust.
For sure, exactly.
Yeah, and what exactly are the steps really depends on the woman. You kind of have to gauge it when you interact with her. That's an art, by the way.
That's what?
That's an art, by the way.
An art? What do you mean? What's an art? Like gauging what she wants?
Yes, gauging what she wants, and sometimes guys make it too tough for themselves. They just take them just guesses on their own. But it would be fine to ask a woman, hey, would you like this? Would you like that? Would it be okay if I ask you out for this activity?
So you like that? You like that idea? Because I personally don't like that idea. I don't like the idea of being like, is it okay if I do this? Like, for example, Leslie, is it okay if I ask you a question?
You're asking for permission?
I just asked you a question. I just asked you a question. So why don't I just ask you the question instead? You know what I mean? It's like, I get how it's more polite and I can understand, but I wouldn't be like, is it okay if I ask you out? I'd be like, I know a great place that's fun for these reasons. You're going to love it. Let's go there. When are you free?
I actually recommended a friend of mine, a male friend of mine, to ask his date, did you enjoy the time? And then follow up the question, do you think we can hang out again? Or do you think this is a good idea to hang out again? Or do you think it would be a good idea if next time we go watch a movie? You just ask right there, because that shows that you're asking for permission, and no one will reject that. Basically, you're showing that, I'm already thinking about the next steps. And you can also use that as an opportunity to gauge her reaction. If her reaction is, is an immediate yes, that just means that he is very interested. If her reaction is like a little like hesitation involved, that means that you're probably not not there yet. So
I have to disagree a little bit, because I think guys could take this the wrong way in trying to use it to be able to set up a second date while they're still on the first date. The woman might not be sold on the second date yet. You know what I mean? So I believe that there's a good phrase is called give her the gift of missing you. So for example, if you have a great first date and you say, I had a wonderful time, I hope you had a wonderful time too, say, yes, I did too. I mean, if you're smart along the date, you already made some plans for your next date, like maybe 3 different plans or something that you could do at different times. So then you can choose from one of them for the next date if you're really clever. And so you already have some ideas for the next date floating around out there presented earlier. So, okay, have a good night. I'll see you later. And so then, I mean, you can send her a text, say like, good night, it was a really great time, or send her a text tomorrow and be like, I had a really fun time, how are you feeling today? How's your day going? But I think looking to set up the date on the first date a lot of the times is kind of like, it's a little bit too desperate. It's kind of like trying to get someone to close a deal too soon, right? It's like, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. You want to buy this thing? It's like, if you didn't meet expressly to buy that thing, you might want to develop some kind of relationship before you tell them about it.
Now, obviously that different people might have different interpretation on that one. And in terms of the part of being too desperate, it also depends on how you kind of approach that question, right? You cannot just ask, when can we meet next time? Can we meet again next week? Depends on also how confident you are in the date that you just had, the conversation you just had, right? If you know, like you basically as a man, you should have a great sense about how happy that person, that the girl was during this conversation when you guys were meeting up, right? You should have that sense. So if obviously the girl wasn't really happy or wasn't really excited or not really into you when you're doing that, it just means that you're trying to secure a date, a second date too fast, and that might be viewed negatively. But
That's
if the
kind of true.
conversation really went well,
If it really went well, then yes, I agree.
if you're really this fascinating person that the woman obviously want to meet again, asking that question basically shows that I'm asking your permission, right? I'm being a gentleman. It's not considered like trying to be too desperate at all.
I agree. If it really went well, like you could even set up the date, like the exact date is going to happen on the next day. Be like, oh, we should really go to archery next week. She's like, oh, that sounds so much cool. And you're like, yeah, I'm free on like Wednesday or Thursday evening. She's like, I'm free on Wednesday night. Like, okay, Wednesday night it is. Boom. So then when you're sending her off, you say, okay, so I had a great time. It was lovely to see you. I look forward to doing archery with you on Wednesday. It's like, yeah, I look forward to it too. Okay. Mwah. So like, yes, if it's going really, really well, but I wouldn't make that like a default plan, because it can definitely come off as a little bit too desperate to seeking another date before that date has already went really well.
Well, another thing is that going to be viewed as desperation or confidence? Because obviously when you're asking me that question, you're not being afraid of getting rejected, right? Because even though I might be polite, there's still a low chance I might say no. For example, I'm actually going out of town, blah, 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 finding all these excuses. But if a guy actually asks me, do you think we can hang out again? I feel like he has that little like gut and personal strength to at least throw that question.
Okay, interesting. Interesting. You think I see you again?
You have
Yeah, okay, maybe. I guess it depends how you say it. Okay, yeah, okay, I can see that going. Put her off. Nice to see each other again. Yeah, for sure. Okay, sure. I would probably phrase it a little bit differently, but okay, sure.
Yeah, I feel like it's very interesting. It's very important to phrase it right. I remember when I first moved here, one of the biggest culture shock was I didn't know how to ask people to join me for lunch or dinner in a very proper way. For example, the first week of when I started working in a new company, I tried to mingle well with the coworkers there, right? So basically, I reached out to everybody, asking them if they would have, let's say, if they want to grab dinner together when we were working long hours. The funny thing is that I didn't know how to make that request in a more proper way. So I just went to the guy coworkers, saying, hey, would you like to join me for dinner tonight? And I asked like 6 or 7 coworkers, and all male, and some women. And I was like, what did I do wrong? Am I really this unpleasant person for them to say no? And later on, it was about a few months later, when I talked about it with a friend of mine, and she's like, you what? I said, well, I asked my male coworkers if they would like to join me for dinner that day. And she said, well, you asked 7 at the same time? I said, yes. Then she told me, when you were saying that, you should have just phrased it in a way that, hey, do you want to grab to make it more casual? But all of a sudden, you make it sound like you want to date them. And also, that's weird. That's
7.
how I kind of, yeah.
That's how you move up in the company. That's how you get promoted real fast.
You should never do that, right? So yes, I agree with you. Phrasing it
Absolutely. That's pretty funny. That's a really funny cultural story. I'd like to do another hangout where we talk about the differences in Chinese and Western dating culture. I think that's too much to go into right now, but I think that could be fun.
Well, I was in the States though.
Oh, yeah. I understand you're in the States. Because actually in China, that wouldn't have been so weird. In China, that would have been normal.
I think it would still have been weird in China for a girl to ask a guy out for dinner. Because it's definitely going to be misinterpreted.
Oh, you think so?
I think so. The reason why I probably got misinterpreted more was because of the way that I phrased it. Because if think about it, if you both of you are working long hours, right, it will make sense to grab something together, and that was my real intention.
Oh, okay. We're like, you want to go for dinner? Just you and I.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure those guys were weird. How I kind of.
You almost ruined 7 marriages there, Leslie. You almost broke 7 families right there.
Well, I'll be flattered too. Well, no, just joking. I'm really happy that they said so. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Actually, afterwards, I was asking my friend, "Oh, should I go back to explain to them just to make a little clarification so that they don't view me differently?" My friend is like, "That will make it even more weird. So don't."
So you just left it at that. It was just no one ever knew why you did that, and they just thought
I stopped talking
that's
to
why.
them afterwards.
That's even weirder.
Just draw the line.
Like, oh, I was really weird. I'm not going to talk to them any again. They're just going to think I'm weird forever.
Right, negative and negative makes it positive, right?
I like it. 2 wrongs do make it right, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. Good line, Leslie. I like it. All right. So I'm going to ask you like 2 more questions. So I believe that to attract quality women, you need to be a quality man. What do you think about that?
True. Whether you're quality enough, and what I'm saying is that whether you're considerable, whether you're considerate, and whether you're respectful is all shown in every bit of your behavior and the conversation you're going to have with the other person. So it's important that you kind of arm yourself up a little bit before. You really need to have that, say, like, depth in thinking, right, to make that conversation more intriguing. You also need to have that skill to not skill, but being a considerate person to be able to have those gestures that makes the woman feel being cared for. I mean, all these you cannot pretend. So it will be wise to start from yourself and build these I would say potential to start with.
I agree. And like you said, it's important how guys communicate things and how they present it and how they make you feel. So one part of being a quality man is making sure you're communicating what you really feel in a positive way that makes her feel good.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that's one of my big things, and I think something a lot of guys struggle with. Cool. So do you have like any final thoughts?
You know, Brian, when you first had this name, we had this discussion before. When you had this first, tell me your brand name is Untitled Woman. I told you it might be a little bit controversial.
Could you please move your hand from the microphone?
Sorry. Can you hear me well now?
That's better.
Okay. So remember when you first told me your brand name is about helping guys finding quality women. We had this little conversation. Basically, my point is that it could be, first of all, it could be a little bit controversial, right, when it comes to what exactly is quality woman. Then you gave me a really good definition of it, and I went with it. The other thing is it might be a little bit limiting. The reason why I'm saying that is because when you and I are having this conversation, for a simplification purpose, we categorize the things as quality and unquality, right? However, in real life, it's not just like that. I'll give you an example. When I think about my mom and her mom, my grandma, both of them are quality women in the sense that they handle their family role really well. Okay. They also have very good tolerance to and very good education that's in place to be able to raise up wonderful kids, right? However, they're completely different persons. For example, my grandma is sort of the quiet traditional lady who doesn't really express her opinions really well sometimes. My mom is a type of woman who is more outspoken and more bold. And think about it, because we're talking about relationship and dating, right? If my grandpa and my dad switched wife, right, all of a sudden, my mom had the quality and personality of my grandma, and my grandma had the quality and personality of my mom. Both marriages and relationships are going to be nightmares, right? So it's not just about finding quality women. It's about yeah, go ahead.
That's right. Like actually, each guy I talk to, quality means a different thing to him. So each guy has their own definition. To me, quality means a woman that you'd potentially be interested in a long-term relationship with. So the question is, are you dating women that you would genuinely be happy and interested to maybe have a long-term relationship with? And so those qualities are different from guy to guy. It's just, are they giving themselves opportunities in what matters for them? So a lot of those things involve her having the same values and communicating well and helping make them better people. I mean, all the other little intricacies and whatnot are different. And obviously there's going to be generational differences as well. But the point is, for each guy that has his own definition with genuine general similarities, is he dating the kind of women he really wants, or is he settling and possibly ending up in a bad relationship that ends up in a bad divorce, maybe with children and sloppy circumstances in the end? Like, I hope not. And so I want to do what I can to make sure that they make good choices for themselves.
Exactly. So, and that starts from another point that we made during this conversation, which is to identify his own role. Right? What is going to be the role that he plays in a relationship? And before he asks about that woman, ask himself that. Right? Because that's how you know who, like, both women can be quality women, right? But which one is right for you? And right, in terms of the role that you play with in the relationship, also another point that you made in the conversation was really important. Think about the future. Do not just think about getting that woman. Think about how do you guys grow together, right? And that goes back to another point that we have made during the conversation, which is influence. And influence matters not just before you secure a date or get married. It also matters after the marriage. Right? How are you guys gonna grow each other? Not grow each other. Well, sort of
grow with each other.
Grow with each other. Do you have a self-development plan for yourself? Right? Because again, if you want to get into a quality relationship, it's important that you have a plan to show the other person, the girl, that because it shows that you at least you keep some standard. You're trying to maintain some standard for yourself, which is seen very positively, right? So that is something that I wanted to talk about as a final thought. Prepare yourself and also have a plan for the future. Let's say if you are trying to grow a business, right? You have to have a plan step to step about how you can get to the target, right? And if you want to go back to school and get an MBA, for example, or other like more advanced degree, have a plan and implement a plan. If you are not comfortable with how you look, for example, if you're like over 200 pounds, right, that can be viewed negatively too, because the woman can interpret it as that you're probably not taking good care of yourself. And if you're not taking good care of yourself, how would I, a woman, expect you to take good care of me? Right? Not that I'm expecting being 100% taken care of, but again, I want to see that potential there, right? So just have a plan to get back in shape. So it's all about whether you have clarified your role, identify your role, and also have this very concrete plan to make sure that there is growth opportunity for both.
I agree. I believe both those things are very important. One part of my coaching involves, like I said, making the ideal relationships. You can identify what kind of role you want to play in your ideal relationship. And another big part of it is making sure you present yourself properly, because that's the very first indication anyone has of you. And I believe how you present yourself is a direct reflection of how you actually feel about yourself. So by presenting yourself well, you're telling people, I feel good about myself. I take care of myself. I think I'm important. I think I'm care-worthy. And so you ought to as well. And people go, okay, cool. I guess I should care about them as well. So I think that's one thing you really help people with, is help them take care of themselves so they feel confident, they feel worth more. They present themselves as the person that they feel they are. And so by doing that, they put their best foot forward and start creating better relationships with people right from the get-go without having to even say anything.
When you have the confidence, there's no power that holds you back. That is what I'm trying to help people obtain in their life.
Exactly. And I agree, confidence is important. I mean, taking right action, like fools can be confident. Taking the right action with the confidence is important. A lot of times, confidence comes from competence, knowing that you can do something well. So for example, if you know that you can take care of yourself, present yourself well, eat well, stay healthy, be strong, be able, so then when you go talk to someone else and maybe you're nervous, you go, well, I know that I'm able to take care of myself, be strong, take the right actions in this other part of my life. So I can use that same sort of mentality to be like, it's okay for me to also take action in this part of my life and apply that mindset elsewhere. Now you're empowered in all parts. Well, I want to say all parts, but ideally all parts, definitely more parts of your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that sounds wonderful. So if the men watching this right now would like to feel more empowered, confident, and able in their physical appearance, especially eating delicious, exotic Asian food that's super healthy, it will help you lose weight up to a ½ pound a day, says Leslie. I think you got to be pretty big to lose a ½ pound a day, but if you're really big, that can help. You can check her out at ricelean.com. What are you offering right now? A 5-day email course?
Yes, a 5-day email course. So basically, there's 5 days, and each day I send you a very powerful tip, very ultra simple as well, that comes from the Asian culture, which you can easily and readily implement. And you basically, after implementing all 5 tips, you will see how things starting working out for you.
Awesome. Ancient Chinese secrets to weight loss. It's not even a spammy web page. You don't even have to put in your credit card. You'll get it for free. That's the real shit. That's good. And if you want my attractiveness to hot women boosting audio, which improves your body language, tone of voice, and conversations with hot women so you can start dating quality women and find your dream woman, that's a mouthful. It's in the link down below. Click on it and put in your email. I'll send it to you right away. Leslie, you're amazing. You're beautiful. You're fun. You're opinionated. You are very well communicated and open-minded. And I appreciate you very, very, very much for being awesome enough to come and hang out with me today.
It's an honor to be here today.
It was all mine. It was all mine. Cool. Thank you, Leslie. I appreciate it. We'll talk later. And to anyone who made it this far, you are a boss. You deserve the best in life. Go kick some ass. Cool. Ciao, Leslie. Thank you.